Alright, what's up? We're gonna do this. Finally gonna run a Reddit seed for the first time in a while. So we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. Was that more? Yeah, that's fair. Alright, so open mode 7/7, so 7 crystals to get into Ganon's tower, 7 crystals to be able to damage Ganon. Hopefully we don't touch any of the pendant stuff, but we'll see. Alright, let's, I think we're good. So let's get it started here. 3, 2, 1, go. Cash money. Alright, red crystal at Hera, pendant at Eastern. Gotta remember that. I'll mark that a little bit. Alright, I don't hate money right now. Alright, so red crystal at Hera, pendant at Eastern. And a regular pendant at that. And a shovel. We did get some money, though. That's not the worst thing to get early. One of the reasons I like to do Uncle Start. And the key to Hyrule Castle. So if we get to the back with a lamp, we can check Dark Cross at that time. But yeah, no, one of the reasons I like doing Uncle Start, at least in this mode, is the chance to get either money or bombs before you get into Kakariko. This should be more money, I think. Yeah. Oh, perfect. You look good. What? I don't think a picture that big would fit on my desk. Let's say if not, I'll find room for it. Alright, Pizza Hut. On the Lumberjack Ledge. I don't care that much about that. I do want to pull that bush crab one more time, get some more bombs. I want to get rid of this bird first. That would have been nice. Thought he threw more than one rupee if he grabbed enough of them. That's why I stuck around as long as I did. Yeah, I'll take a shield. Fisher Price shield. Squall's first shield. Alright, this shouldn't be money. It's arrows. I'd rather have the money. But with the bombs, we'll get enough money to buy the bottle merchant item. So we'll be able to clear most of this area out in one go, which is the reason to do it. The reason to go to Uncle first, I guess, is to get the resources to clear this in one shot. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, because more often than not, you're going to be coming back here. Whether it be to activate the flute, that's a nice pearl, or to get into the Dark World. Yeah, see, plenty of money. Plenty of money for bottle merchants. 100 rubies. Glove. So we are one item away from Dark World access. Could be the other glove or the hammer. My book is interesting. That gets us into Desert Palace. There's 2 items there. It is a crystal. That bow also interesting because that lets us get into not get into, but beat Eastern Palace. It is a pendant though. I'm not sure if I want to go to a pendant dungeon right away. If it was green pendant, I would consider it. But where it's not... Oh, nice. Okay. Seed's been pretty kind to us so far. Don't hate that. Yesterday was... we don't really care about that. Yesterday was an okay day for the beer league. We had 2 races yesterday, 2 co-op races. Emok and Bagel had a jet. I'm gonna grab that money actually. Emok and Bagel had a jet co-op all dungeon seed that they both finished in an hour 20, which is super fast. But they got beat out by a couple of minutes in that race, which is just unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. But then Emok and I had a co-op mystery seed, so the settings, you don't know what they are until you get into the game. And there's a bunch of different things that you can customize. It's, you know, the world state, whether it's open like this, standard, where you go to rescue Zelda from the dungeon, like the vanilla game starts. There's also a chance of inverted, but it's pretty low. But there's a bunch of different settings that get randomized, and you gotta kind of figure it out on the fly. And I know Emok and I both enjoy kind of figuring out the puzzle of a lot of these seeds, so it kind of worked out well. We ended up getting a win, which was nice. It came down to, essentially, we got the flippers out of the basement in Tower of Hera before the other team did. Green Pendant, Thieves Town. I don't love that. I like when Thieves Town's a crystal. It's one of the first places I go in the Dark World usually. Although the fact that we've seen 2 pendant dungeons means that Ice Rod is probably required. More than likely required. Given that there's only one other pendant dungeon in the Dark World. Alright, guards are in the bomb pack. That's good. That's good to know. So the enemy types, they fall into different kind of drop prize packs. So if you kill an enemy, you have a 50-50 chance of an item being dropped, and even, you know, because most things in this game are randomized. The prize packs for the enemy drops are randomized. And there are certain types of enemies. Limp Bagel, who's one of my beer league partners, he put together a drop tracker. And I've got to find the link to it, but it's super handy if you want to kind of keep track of it. But it'll let you know what enemies are grouped together, and then once you figure out what prize pack they're in, you can select it. A lot of money. But you can select it, and that way you'll kind of have an idea of, you know, oh, I need magic. Like, I have to be on the lookout for certain enemies that will drop it. Or there's a bomb prize pack. Or there's a heart prize pack. Some of them have arrows. Like, there's different things. But it's a good thing to know. Take that magic. Yes, I will. Alright, so the big key is vanilla. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen map, compass, and one item. So none of this is in logic at this point. This is all out of logic. I need to keep that in mind when I'm going through here. If I do happen to find anything worthwhile. Where's that key? Oh, I have the key. Okay. I didn't hear the pickup sound, so I didn't think I had it. Yeah, so out of logic, you're supposed to have the lamp to give yourself the light cone to light that room up so you can see where you're going. But the room still exists without it. So you can get through the room if you know the layout and can avoid the enemies or kill the enemies or what have you. But until I find the lamp, I'm not supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be a place that I am going to get to. Because the game is not going to assume you can get through a room in the dark. At least on these settings. I need to get my sword out. I gotta find that guy. Okay. Little dangerous there, but we got through it. I'm gonna be a little careful on this, just in case. And this is really the room that I need to be the most careful in. Those cannonballs are random. We'll get a heart here. And we'll be good to go. And another heart. There's also hearts, a couple of hearts in couple of these pots. And there's also arrows under these pots because you need arrows to defeat this boss. Okay, so we got a second sword, so not necessarily required depending on where the other swords are, but I'm not going to turn down a second sword. So, ultimately not great, because we didn't get anything that helps us progress. Like there wasn't a hammer or a hook shot or a lamp. In the sword, once we get a lamp, we will be able to get through Aghanim's tower. Not that I want to. fact, I don't want to. It's kind of a not insignificant time sink. Actually, let me grab this. Ultimately, I think that is faster than going to each side. I guess I could have thrown a bomb or two. Alright, so powder, bottle, ether. So we've got some things we can do. Crabs are in the bomb pack. That's cool. Yeah, admittedly, I was talking about that drop prize pack tracker. I'm not great with knowing the prize packs, admittedly. Like, I could probably benefit a little bit from what Bagel put together. So I think I'm going to save and quit and go to the back of Escape. So there's 3 items that we can get relatively quickly. And if the lamp is one of them, like I said before, we can get into Dark Cross. I mean, I could try to do it with in the dark, with the sparkles from the tip of the sword, but there's a room where you have to kill one of these rats, and they just kind of go everywhere. And it's hard to kill them. I guess Ether could probably kill them, but there's also a chance that it could be the map. We've got so much money. I think we found, what, 4 300 rupee drops? Maybe 5? So the way I see it, the first part of this game, usually like 15 to 30 minutes depending on items, is trying to get access to the Dark World. Once you get access to the Dark World, you can get to a lot of different things. So I'm looking for, ideally, the hammer or another glove. Either of those things will get me into the Dark World at some point. I could also sequence break Death Mountain. That's pretty low priority for me. I'll take armor, though. So that cuts my damage taken, I think, in half for most enemies. I think there's a few that damage you the same regardless. Like spikes, I think, always do a full heart. I think the green guards always do half a heart. Oh, there's our mitts. So that is Dark World access right there. So we need a fire source to get to the back, and we might need the boots to get an item or a key off of the torch in here. So this isn't beatable, but it does get us Dark World access. So this right here will let us know if we can do anything else in this dungeon. If this is the key, we can go on. If it's not, okay. If it wasn't a key, that's the only thing we could do, and then we just go grab the mitts and get out. Now we can do a little bit more. Alright, so we just need a fire source. So this will be the small key to get us to the other side. Alright, so having those mitts is going to get us into Dark World at about 20 minutes, which is nice. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to walk all the way to the other side again to go get them. Okay, mushroom is interesting. That opens up a check for us. Over at the potion shop. And that's both items. So Landmo, the boss, is going to drop the compass. So I don't need to come back here. I mean, for anything outside of beating the boss, and I don't need to do that at least until I probably do it, assuming I have the mirror at that point, once I get to Misery Mire, if I need to get to Misery Mire. Watch the tracker light up. It's mostly around the Village of Outcasts, because that's where I have to enter the Dark World. I have magic, I'm fine. Yeah, so Thieves Town being a pendant, even if it is green pendant, not ideal. Because that's the only dungeon I could clear right now. We should probably head over in that direction anyways. I mean, we could go... We have the front of Escape to do. We could turn in that mushroom. The check on Zora himself is open with a glove. The rest of it is not without the flippers. I should check this first, actually. This is a sick kid that lives in here. In the vanilla game, he, if you have a bottle to catch stuff in, he will give you the bug net. In the randomized game, if you have a bottle to catch stuff in, he will give you something. In this case, 20 bucks. Go buy him some medicine. Alright, so portal here into the Dark World, and we can see... So Turtle Rock is the pendant. That's kind of funny. And Swamp Palace is our other red crystal. And we knew TR was the green pendant, which might be worth doing. It just kind of stinks doing 2 pendant dungeons so early. So outside of the sword in Eastern, we haven't broken logic on anything yet. Not too badly, anyways. We could kind of sequence break some of the flippers checks with the Moon Pearl. There's a way you can get stuff, but not gonna worry about that yet. There's 4 items, 4 unique items in Thieves Town to get. We'll be heading in there, at least checking the front of it. Or we could go right into Skull Woods. That's beatable now. But let's at least check the front 4 here. We get 3 items in the first 4 checks. We're done. We're automatically only Mac guaranteed 2. One of these checks has to be the big key. That blocks the back half of the dungeon. It's possible we get no items. Like I said, the big key will have to be here, and then there is the chance of getting the big key and the small key. I still might bail. Yep. It's a 0 item front. That's gross. So we are going to leave an item behind, unless we find the hammer in here. Because the big chest is blocked by some pegs that you need the hammer to knock down. So it's going to be pretty low priority to come back here if we don't have the hammer here, because it's a pendant and there's really no reason. It's a long check to get to for one item. We did have to go through all that, hit that switch, and then eventually leave, but we're just gonna hope that we don't need whatever's there. That's a bad first item. Got him. This is probably a mistake. I just want to point that out. But in the spirit of just kind of doing it to get it over with. And technically, the other pendant dungeon had a sword, which helped. Might not have necessarily been required to do it. Okay. Now I'm glad that we did this. Really glad we did this. Because that is required. Hard required. For a couple of reasons. Number one, Swamp Palace. You need it to beat the dungeon. And that's a crystal, so we have to beat it. Also, for, at the very least, the top of Ganon's Tower, there is a gap that you have to hookshot across. There are ways around it, I just don't know any of them, because it's a glitch called hovering that I don't know how to do. But, line's down, let's see what we get. The Bloomerang. So that hookshot is a great find. There is still one more item in there, but I don't want to get it. What I want to do, we're going to go into Steve's Town. In a second, I want to scout. Alright, so our stun prize is a single rupee, which is not useful in the slightest. So the boomerangs, alright, that's good. So one thing, that 20 rupee check is blocked by the cape, which I don't have yet. but given what's up there, it's not required to get it, so I'm not going to get it. But the hookshot and the boomerangs can stun certain enemies. So they kind of freeze like these Gibdos are. Is that going to be far enough over to hit that? No. I'm just going to get grabbed and start over. But the hookshot and the boomerang can stun enemies, which will immobilize them. Ugh, didn't want to get grabbed there. There is a way to do this room without using the boomerang, but I'm not very good at it. You want to line the block of the statue up with that block, essentially. That's kind of why that block is there. If I do this quickly enough, you do it, if you can time it right, you can grab the chest and get grabbed at the same time, so you don't have to push the statue, but it's not that much... It's not that much different. It maybe saves a second, maybe two. Actually, I haven't found an item yet. Let's grab it now. Alright, so it was an item. Not a good item, but it was an item. But an important thing to know if you are going to play this game is to know how many items are in each dungeon. Goodbye. That will help you. So like in this dungeon, I found one item. If the boss happens to drop the second item, I don't need to check any of the rest of the things in the dungeon. It's just going to be small keys and the map and compass. He's playing nice so far. I got hit there. Okay, that actually wasn't too bad. Okay, so he dropped a dungeon item, so we need to check. There's one more item floating around somewhere. Yeah, that fight is tough. A, the moving floor. B, the moving spikes. C, Moth doesn't take damage to... or from the spikes. So if you hit him and he knocks back into the spikes, he doesn't take any damage. It negates the damage that you give to him. So you've got to kind of hit him when he's not near the spikes, which is why when he goes to the top of the room, it's not good. Ideally, you want him, you know, closer to the middle or the bottom. Small key, that's actually fine. Because that'll let us open this door and kind of get through this a little bit quicker. Big key. things like that are why the hook shot is my favorite item in the game. You can use it as offense to kill certain items. You can use it to stun enemies. I mean, all right. So the last item is actually in the big chest. So I'm gonna get grabbed, and that'll bring us to where we last entered the dungeon, which is right where the big chest is. And you can do a fun little trick called a bomb jump. If I can set it up right, I think that's good. And we can get that last item, which is health. So now what I actually want to do is go back through the Village of Outcasts. So that's our only way to get through. The only way to get over to a certain section of the Dark World. And there are some checks that we can do. We can also grab... Yeah, I have the mitts. We can grab this frog... No, not yet. Not yet. We'll come back. Because just north of where I am now, there is a frog that's trapped behind rocks you need the Titansmiths for. And then in the vanilla game, you bring it... He's one of the smiths that's just east of Kakariko Village. I'll take Quake, sure. So you grab him, you bring him back home, and they eventually give you the Tempered Sword. Which in my estimation is the best upgrade in the game. I think it's even more impactful than the Silver Arrows. Just the damage capabilities from Master Sword to Tempered Sword are ridiculous. It's fine. But the feature in the game is you can, without the mirror, if you go talk to him and he will follow you kind of wherever. If you don't get killed by the bombs there first. But he will follow you even through a save and quit, which is kind of fun. Andy will go inside this cave, which is affectionately known as Hype Cave, for the pretty high chance that it gives us something hype, which that's okay. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, all right, that is definitely a hype cave. So now we can go back to the sanctuary. We can bring him back to Kakariko Village. And we can get an item. And actually, what I might do is actually go through the Dark World to do it. I can grab a couple other things, because I don't really have a ton of dungeon options. I can partially clear a couple. And I can partially clear Pod. Although I'd have to glitch my way. I have to glitch my way into any dungeon at this point, which kind of stinks. So I think doing this makes it a little bit better. But we're going to kind of take another trip through, which doesn't feel great. Or we're going to go through the same way we just did, kind of walk through the dark. Okay, that is pretty nice. Because that's going to be required for Misery Mire. I shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. That's okay. Leave the chest there. And check out Batman in his Bat Cave, and he will give me bombs, which is actually fine. And I think I want to go back to the Dark World, actually. See, that portal, without the hammer, I can't get over there. So I've kind of got to... I have to go back and do this again. Doesn't feel great, but again, there's things I can check. And Samaria is nice. Never going to say no to it, but it doesn't get us into anything extra. But now with the mirror, I can get through... I can get a couple of things that I couldn't check before when I went this way. And there's... what, 3? Well, yeah, 3 that I couldn't get before. Well, 2 I couldn't get before. 1 I would have had to get at a different time. But there is the check down here. I can mirror here. And there's a cave here we call Cave 45. That just has money, which we don't need. The thing you want to make sure of when you mirror is you need to pick that chest back up. Because once you mirror, the chest will disappear. They had a Stumpy, that's why we call him Stumpy. Look at him, he's a stump. So we got that shovel earlier. Alright. That actually, there is a way you can leave the chest behind and still turn it in down here. But it has to be, you have to leave it, and then you can't mirror again until you get to where the thief is that will pick the lock. So if you have boots, it's probably worth it, because you can dash a little bit faster than you can just walk. That was nothing. Great. And then the last thing that I couldn't check without the mirror is right here. This is where you would get Bombos in the vanilla game with the Book of Medora. We call it the Bombos Tablet. And it's just money. Alright. There's really not anything we can do there. So where do we want to go? Front of Escape looks pretty tasty. I'm trying to stay relatively inside the logic. There's 3 items in the Front of Escape. So let's try to figure out what do we need for Go Mode. We will need, let's see, what do we have to beat? Desert we can beat whenever. Hera we could beat now, actually, if we sequence Broke Death Mountain. But logically we would need either the flute or the lamp. Let's see, Pod, we need the hammer. Swamp, logically we need the hammer, but we also need flippers. And honestly, once we get flippers, we can beat it. There's a way to get into the dungeon and clear it without the hammer. What else? Ice Palace, we need the hammer. And Mire, we need the flute. So we need flute, hammer. I don't need to spin here. I've got tempered. So Alright, so there is an item in the Dark Cross, which is in logic, actually, thanks to the Fire Rot. So what do we need? Hammer, we need flippers. And we need, potentially, bombos? And lamp, I guess. But I think I can get through everything left without the lamp. Because we would need the lamp for Pod, for sure. And Meyer. In this tech. Oh, no, the fire rod. This torch is in here that you can light, which I will probably do right here. The bad cane. Actually, I think we're... Yeah. Let's do this now. We'll lift this rock, and we can actually go turn in that mushroom now. So flippers and hammer. And flute. So 3 items. Maybe a 4th. Maybe a 5th, actually, if we need boots for what is the torch in Ganon's Tower. Let's see. I could go to Zora now, but I won't. I can combo that with... Okay. So, actually, I think... Yeah, I think we're done. So let's... Alright, let's do it this way. So I could get into... Again, I'm trying to stay in the logic as best I can. Which probably isn't the right answer, but whatever. The good news is, once I find this stuff, I'll be able to just, like, breeze through all the dungeons, which is nice. So there is a way to swim without the flippers, which I will hopefully be able to show you here. Right there. So this glitch is called Fake Flippers. Really inventive name, I know. But how it works, essentially you trick the game into thinking you have flippers. What you do is you get to the edge of a screen transition, and when you are 1 pixel away from the screen transition, you jump into the water and immediately hold in the direction of the screen transition. So in the example I just did, I went left. Alright, that's our 4th sword. And what you do when you hold the direction of the screen transition, the game, I think there's 1 frame that you have. Basically, the game, once you do a screen transition, the game checks to see if you have flippers. But you can essentially trick the game into thinking you have them by jumping in and triggering the screen transition from 1 pixel away. And that will let the game think that you have flippers, so you can swim. So this, we are triggering a water walk state, and this is something you need the Moon Pearl to do. For whatever reason, it only works if you have the Moon Pearl. But that Waterwalk stay with the Moon Pearl lets us get those 2 checks in that waterfall cave without the flippers. And now I can walk on water instead of having to swim. So I cannot get that. Well, there is a way to get it. I'm not very good at it. It's called Splash Delete. It's a different glitch. Without flippers, you've got to do some kind of weird things to get that item on the ledge. Luckily, we don't need it. I don't hate that. We also don't need the item in there. So logically, we've got 2 options. And it's that green pendant turn in, which I'm going to do. And then there is Graveyard Ledge, which I am not going to do at this point. At least not yet. So if green pendant isn't it, I am going to sequence break Death Mountain, I think. Because I can't beat a ton of dungeons. I can barely get into some dungeons. Like ice I can get into, but I need the hammer to get to the boss. I mean, I can do a bunch of things in it, but can't beat it. Okay, so that actually gives us logical access to Death Mountain. So the seed is hard requiring beating Thieves Town. So I still need hammer, I still need flippers, I still need flute. At least one of these 3 is going to be up on Death Mountain somewhere. It almost has to be at this point. At this point, I actually want to find hammer last. Then I could just go mode a couple of dungeons. I would love to find flute. Flute first, I think. So I want to go up here first. You can hookshot across from the bottom, but then I wouldn't be able to get back up here without the hammer. So I want to do this side first and then drop down and go over. Okay, so we don't need either of the spec rock items. That's fine. We can check Ether Tablet and then go into and beat Tower of Hera, which is one of our 5-6 crystals. Okay. We were a little low on health. That's our 8th heart, which is not a lot for over 50 minutes in. This has not been the healthiest seed. Blue mail helps, but 8 hearts is not ideal. Perfect. So there will be a key in this next check. Don't know if it's the small or big key. It's the small key. Alright, we're gonna get the big key and just do it. We can mirror back out. And there's a pretty good chance that the big chest is gonna have an item. So now we can take a break for like 30 seconds. Yeah, so this is going to be our second crystal. It's looking more and more like sequence breaking Death Mountain is probably going to be the play. Or should have been the play, I should say. A small optimization, if you hit that last block before it gets to you, it saves a little bit of time. So we knew that was the big key, that's fine. We get to do what is one of the more fun, I think, glitches in the game. It's called Hera Pot. So you can actually clip into this pot right there, and you'll end up skipping a bunch of rooms on the climb up. Let's just hit this. We'll see if, hopefully, if the big key has one of the 3 items I need is kind of a big brain play. It didn't. So the last 2 items are here and on the boss. So I did not have to do that basement. You just wasted a minute doing that. Awesome. Alright. We can just beat this boss. We'll get an item. We'll get a crystal, and then we can head over to the other side. Like a Muldum freezes there when you're walking along the bottom. Never hurts to take an extra second or two to be careful and not get knocked down. Alright, crystal number 2. All done. So now we can go back down, use this hook shot to get across to the other side of Death Mountain. And without the hammer, I kind of want to order this a certain way. Without a hammer with the mirror, you can kind of do this a couple of different ways. If I had the hammer, I would have just gone across the top. But I'm going to leave a portal down here. And with the mirror, inside caves, not dungeons, but caves, you can delete push blocks if you mirror while the push block is moving. Oh, flute and hammer. Okay. So we're flippers for go. So I don't need to touch ice. I can't get into swamp. Unfortunately, that puts TR in logic. I mean, I could go mode ice, I guess, but there's nothing that we need in there. Anyway, so the purpose of leaving that portal, I probably didn't need to come down here, actually. I probably should have just bomb jumped across and opened the portal up top, but that's fine. So now, I think what I want to do... You can also hook shot through moving blocks as well, which is a nice thing to kind of skip that whole section of having to go up and down and around and... You go like up there and down and around and over and through, and it takes forever to get there. But if you have the mirror, there's also a way you can do it with the hook shot. Alright, I just want to check, because if we have access to it, we can beat TR, which I really don't want. It's Ether, we can fully clear TR. I really don't want to, though. Oh no. Yeah, as soon as I hit it, I knew. That was just dumb. So we see the flippers were done collecting items. Okay. I am not gonna go into yeah. I never checked what was up there. Let's just check it quick. There's an item on this floating island to the left here. Oh my god, it's the flippers. Alright, so we're in go mode once we pick these up. Assuming, actually, there's one thing we need to check. We need to see what the medallion requirement is for Misery Mire. If it's Bombos, we still need that. If it's not, then we are good to go. That is one thing I forgot. You can see the whole map just lit up green, basically, after the Death Mountain. So the sequence-breaking Death Mountain was absolutely 100% the play. Oh, I didn't fill up, but that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, so sequence-breaking Death Mountain was 100% what we needed to do. Once we got the... Really, once we got the hook shot. So some of the better runners in this will absolutely have done that. And probably wouldn't have gotten the lamp. But once we got the hook shot from Thieves, we had access to it. We should have done it sooner than we did. That's fine, though. So again, quick check. We'll check Misery Mire. If we can get in, we are in go mode at basically an hour, which is okay. We still have 5 dungeons to clear, but it's kind of the good thing about... okay, it's Ether. We're good. Love that. The double Ether for the medallions for Mire and TR. But we don't need to go into TR at all. And it wasn't necessary to do Eastern, actually. We would be fine with just Tempered Sword. Although, would we have gotten it? I'm not sure how it would have played out. Because the other sword was on Hobo, which is flippers required. So I don't know. I don't know. Might have been worth it to beat Eastern to get that sword. But logically, the Seed wanted us to do basically what we did. Beat Thieves, turn in the green pendant, get the lamp, then go up to Death Mountain and get all the goodies. So right now, we're just looking for the big key. There it is. So that is pretty close to what we call a God Mire, which means you... Like, ideally, the God Mire would be you get the big key in the very first chest. But we got it in the second, so it's pretty close. I call it a Demigod Mire. Because when you're in go mode and you get the key over here, you can just zip right up the door there, through the key door, and... Oh, I messed that up. There is a glitch you can do to kind of make these next couple of rooms a little bit easier, but I did not do it. I forgot I didn't have the boots, which is the easiest way to set that glitch up. I could have done it with the ice rod, but I didn't do it in time, so we didn't do it. And I did need to hit that switch. I am all out of swords. Normally, when you go through the dungeon, there's a switch on the left side that you hit. That ends up requiring you to hit the switch down here at the bottom. But since we didn't go over there, I never hit the switch, so I didn't need to do it down here. At least the first one. The one after the bomb wall I needed to hit, but... yeah, we can use Burna, I guess. It'll be a little bit quicker. I didn't hit that one at all, huh? Yeah, the gold sword there, the reason I kind of went and used Burna was to get some hits on the big guy when he popped up to shoot his lightning. So it required less bow shots to beat him. Alright, so we can finish Desert now. And then we can go to, we have Ice Palace, we have Pod, and we have Swamp Palace. That was close. Almost mirror bonked, but ended up being just about perfect. Okay, Desert, Pod, Swamp, Ice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is what I was saying about, you know, not having cleared a bunch of dungeons, but having some good items. Once you find the items, you can just kind of breeze your way through the rest of the game. Like, being able to go mode 5 dungeons is potentially better than beating 5 dungeons early. Not always, but... it has its advantages, I'll say that. So now it really doesn't matter what order we do the dungeons in. We're just going to basically flute to a dungeon, beat it, flute to the next dungeon, beat it, flute to the next dungeon, beat it, and then go up to Ganon's Tower. So we'll go to Ice Palace first. There is a small chance that we will need boots. It's like a 4% chance, 4 to 5% chance. And that's if the big key to Ganon's Tower is on the torch. It's a 1 in 22 chance, whatever that percentage works out to be. It's a little less than 5. 4.5 or something like that. Or someone could do the math. There is a pretty cool glitch you can do that I'm going to do in a room just to the east of where I was. And it allows us to really break this dungeon open. So it's aptly named Icebreaker. But it's essentially a rail clip. So you can basically, like, that's a solid wall. Put the Samari block down, you kind of move, and you can just walk right over that wall. I'm going to open a couple of chests along the way, just in case I do find boots and don't have to worry about it. It also will help kind of speed up some rooms. Didn't want to do that. Just wanted to grab the key. Ordinarily, you'd go to the left, you'd pull the tongue, and then you would get a chest to pop up, but not required. Actually, I think there's a way. Get hit by every firebar known to man. I think he can hook shot to... Yeah, right there. And doing that icebreaker rail clip glitch allows you to get here with the switches a certain way. So you can push that block down and get to the boss without needing either Cane of Samaria or having to go around and through the dungeon essentially a second time. You basically do the dungeon in reverse. Yeah, if you do it right, you can trap the boss in the corner, spin and 3 slashes with that gold sword, and it's dead. But that's another reason why being in go mode for this dungeon is so nice. Well, hopefully it's go mode. You can really just breeze through and cut out a lot of walking and backtracking and all sorts of fun stuff. Let's do Swamp. So if you thought go moding Ice Palace was quick, wait till you see how quickly we can get through Swamp Palace. If you're familiar with particularly the vanilla game, you're gonna be amazed at how quickly we can get through this dungeon. Because there is a way to clip into... There's a way to clip into the main part of the dungeon without needing to spend a key, essentially. And that really... Like, that's probably a little more broken even than Icebreaker is for Ice Palace. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how broken it makes this dungeon. You can beat it because you need the hammer. I mean, I can show you. Kind of. That's guaranteed small key. Ordinarily, you would... There's a chest behind a bombable wall here. I'm not going to do it. But there's a key door in this room over on the left side that ordinarily you would come in here, you'd get this key under this pot, and you see those kind of spikes. You need the pegs. You need to use the key to get to the door, use the hammer to knock down those pegs and flood the room so you can swim over here. See that kind of half a ladder? But you can do, that clip is called Specky Clip, named after the runner who kind of found this glitch, which was, I want to go this way. What, 2-3 years ago now? But it lets you essentially save the key, not need the hammer, and get to the rest of the dungeon. Super broken. Now we're going to do a clip called Diver Down, which is another rail clip. Again, I'm just checking things that are on the way, looking for boots. One more check I can do here. That's pretty quick. Push this, hit that, away you go. probably one of the last things we'll check, but like I said, it's a pretty low chance that we even need it. And now we're at the boss. We skipped a whole slow left side of the dungeon that randomizer players hate doing. Like LSS is, let's see if I can get, I think yeah, I messed it up. I was too close to the wall. There's a way you can kind of knock him into the corner with 2 fire rod shots and a sword spin, and it will kill him in 1 cycle. Saves a little bit of time. The only downside is if we do need boots, there's a lot of places that we've kind of breezed through. So they could be in a lot of places. Because everything is basically in logic at this point. We're just going to go into pod. We need to find, in theory, 2 small keys. This is a good spot. If you haven't turned in the green pendant, this is a good spot. You can mirror in this maze and get to Saha pretty quick. So we're going to hope for a small key in the first check and a small key in the second check. That's the ideal scenario. Alright, well, that's fine. I guess we've got to do the bow side anyways. But we're pretty much guaranteed to find at least 1 small key. I think we are guaranteed to find at least one small key over here, which is all we need if we're going this way. The second small key was to open the door at the beginning of the dungeon. My time was off. It's alright. If this is a small key, then we're good. Okay. And this statue moves, but with... You're supposed to move the statue up into that corner and hold that switch down, but... If you have Canis Samaria, you can just put the block on it, it stays down, you're golden. Yeah, we didn't find any items in Mire. We found, what, 3 in ice and swamp and 1 in ice. There's a lot of places. If we do need the boots, there's a lot of places to check, which is not going to feel great. I will tell you that for free. You dope. You absolute idiot. How do you forget that you need the big key? Ugh. Or because the last 2 dungeons I didn't need the big key. And the one before that, I already had the big key. Oh, that's so dumb, though. Alright, so I guess we should bomb this wall. Get you out of the way now. Oh, it's so bad. If it's here, I'm gonna feel even worse. Because I could have had this super early. Okay, that's fine. There's a pretty good chance it's in the back anyways. I am not gonna get that yet. That should be the last place I check, I think. That way I only have to do the right side twice. Alright, so now we can do this. That hits the switch, we can go up here. I probably didn't need to bomb that at this point. Unless the big key's in the maze. Oh, I don't hate that cape, actually. Not required by a long shot. Please be here. This would be the best place for it to be. Perfect. Because now we can just do this, and then go back. Alright, so we wasted a couple of minutes there. That's alright, though. Still gonna come in... Probably 1. I didn't need to do that, 'cause I already did it. Not used to coming through here a second time. But we should be in the neighborhood of like 135, provided we don't need the boots. Somewhere in that neighborhood, I think. 135 to 140. Hopefully we can sub 140. Now we're good. Look at that. Right, helmet down, off to GT. And we're just gonna hope that the boots aren't needed. At least our bonk count will be low. Could potentially be 0. You never know. Yes, you should get into GT another little over a minute. So somewhere around 125 and change. If we had the boots, it would be closer to 125. It's probably like 125 and a half. Should probably want the hook shot out to help with the Lionels. I'm just gonna tank a hit. Yep, that's fine. With boots, I could just dash through them. But without boots, unless you want to tank a hit, you can use the hook shot. Kind of hook shot invulnerability. The hook shot is either extending or retracting. You can't get hit. So it's good for projectiles like that. Alright, moment of truth. Do we need the boots? Please no. Thank God. Okay, we're in go mode. That's funny. That the reason I actually do this route in GT is because of a seed like this, where I didn't have boots and I wanted to see. Oh wow. Perfect. So now I'm just kind of scouting for silvers. Okay, fine. But I wanted to see if we needed boots. Turns out we did, but the way I would normally do GT now is do what I just did, not kill the Stalfos room that I mirrored out of, and then check right side. And then once I check right side, then go back and finish left. It's kind of like a modified DM's route, Dark Magician. What do I have for potions here? A green and a blue, that's good. That's fine. With boots, there is a strat that a lot of people do, including me, where if you fall off of the platform there, you can then use the invulnerability frames you get from kind of restarting the room to then dash through all of the cannonballs, which is kind of nice. That wasn't too bad of a room. I didn't get the frames there. Oh, I missed it. Alright. We're down to 2.5 hearts, that's fine. I think if I had put a Samaria block down, I could have gotten the double spin, but that's fine. We have powder, we can get a refresh, health refresh, in like 6 rooms, maybe. I gotta get the magic here anyway, so I might as well grab that heart. If nothing else, just to stop the beeping. So right here, I'll oh yeah, shoot. Okay, I at least got one of them. So that's fine. That's what, 8.5 hearts. That should be enough. And this is the gap I was talking about earlier, where you need the hook shot to go across. If you have boots, there is a way you can kind of glitch your way across. It would have been funny if boots were there. But there is a way you can glitch yourself across that. It's called hovering. I can't do it, so I couldn't even begin to explain it. But basically, you like press and let go of the dash button, the A button, I think. B button, whatever it is. Just so rapidly that the game thinks that you essentially thinks that you have boots and you're just kind of running. Wait, where are you? I got off track there. I think one more hit. This is a bad fight. These are some decent patterns. Oh, I miscounted. I miscounted. Alright. So, not the best fight, but it's what it is. I wonder where the silvers are gonna be. Right before phase 4 of the Ganon fight, he'll drop a hint as to where the silver arrows are, so the second bow. If it was anywhere but TR, we could have had him. I mean, TR, I guess we could have had him, but I wasn't going to TR. Oh, why did I do that? Gotta use this now. Land. Okay, that's fine. So one last glitch we're gonna do. It's called the torch glitch. And it's relatively important when you don't have half magic or the silver arrows, which I have neither. But the torches will go out. The left one will go out first, and then the right one. If I can light the left one before... Oh, arrows were in GT. Okay. If I can light this torch before the right lamp goes out, the right lamp will always stay lit. So it's a way to save a little bit of magic. For the silverless fight, Ganon is vulnerable kind of as he's teleporting. I was a little late there. But as he's teleporting, he is vulnerable for a handful of frames. So if you spin attack at the right time, you can hit him like that. So it is not required to get silver arrows necessarily to beat this game. So you can beat it with anything except the fighter. So it's a master, tempered, or gold. Just changes the number of times you have to hit him. Gold sword's obviously the easiest. Gold and tempered sword in the first 3 phases, you do not need to spin attack. You can just slash. And it's 6 hits with the gold sword in each phase, and 12 with the tempered sword. Then phase 3, you just need to slash once. Well, 4 times. But once per teleport, I guess. With Master Sword, it is much more difficult. You can only damage him with spins. So you need 12 spins on the first phase. You need 12 spins on the second phase. Because it does, Master Sword spin does the same damage as Tempered Sword. So 12 spins on the first phase, 12 spins on the second phase. The third phase is still 4, but they have to be spins. And the last phase is 24 spin attacks. So I think it's 52 spins to win with Master Sword. Silverless. It's kind of a brutal fight. It doesn't come up often, but it can save you from having to go through and find either another sword or the silver arrows. Alright, let's see if I can pull up the time, see how other people did running this one. Because we go off of the in-game time, not the time that's on the screen. It's the time that shows up when the credits end. So usually it's a little bit lower than what's on the screen by, I don't know, between 1 and 2 minutes usually. Alright, let's see. So the first time is a 154. This is a 157. 125 from Kate Sith. That's... let me look at his comments, but I'm guessing he sequence broke Death Mount. He didn't go into Eastern. He never got the lamp. He went into Dark World. Yeah, he sequence broke Death Mountain, so that's where his, or there, I guess. I don't know if male or female, but 133.28. We're gonna be right. We're gonna be very close to that time. That's pretty good. 226, which was a PB, nicely done. Doggy Dolphy 128.09. That's about right. Orbital, who seems to win these every week, 112. I would love to see a VOD of Orbital's runs. They're always, like, the times are so good. So good. 221, 202, 207, 208. Skeptic there. Oh, Tom, what'd you get? 145, 14. 219 as a 138. So we're going to be pretty high up there. We're going to be pretty high up there. Yeah, sequence breaking Death Mountain was the play, though, for sure. If I had done that instead of... what did I do after Hype Cave? I did like a bunch of overworld stuff. Like, I think I did the rest of Smith Chain. Like, if I had skipped that and just gone up to Death Mountain, that probably would have been... That saves a couple of minutes right there, so I'm down around 130. I don't think I get much better than that, though. But all in all, not too bad. So we wasted a little bit of time on Smith Chain, but the rest of it was pretty good. I can't complain. I'll check out the stats here. Slow it down. Yeah, Force Sword early. That was in, I think, back at Tavern. We never found the boots. Flute was in somewhere in Dark Death Mountain. Oh no, maybe it was Light World Death Mountain. Might have been in Paradox Cave. Mirror was in Hype Cave. No bonks. Look at us go. No boots means no bonks. Just means a little bit of a slower seat overall. I guess if I don't go to Eastern, I save a little bit of time there too. Alright, 132, 36. We saved almost 2 minutes off of the real time. I don't hate that time. For bootless and essentially clearing all but one dungeon, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I am interested to know where the boots are. I might look and see if anybody posted a comment as to where they were, because I never found them. But is what it is. Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, that'll do it. That was... I mean, most of it was on your path. The only real deviations were just the stuff in Paradox Cave was a flute and hammer, and then flips on the floating island. That's... And then, obviously, not needing the boots was kind of nice, too. But like I said, it's a pretty low percentage chance that the boots are required for Ganon's Tower. There's only that one check, that torch, that you need them for. It just helps the rest of the dungeon. But boots lock. There's the item on the library. There's the item on the torch in Desert. And there's a couple. There's King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks by Sanctuary that are unlocked by boots. So there's potentially 5 spots that boots would be required if something's there. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other spot you need to bonk. Anyways, I mean, we could have skipped. I'm trying to think of what else we could have done to cut our time. We could have skipped Zora. I don't think the Zora area had anything. The hobo had a sword, but we could have skipped going up to Zora's domain, I guess. That's probably like a minute to walk through that, set up the water walk state and all that. We could have skipped Eastern potentially. We could have, I mean, we didn't have to beat Blind, but at that point we knew it was a guaranteed item plus green pendant turn in. That's pretty defensible, I think. Actually, I didn't even look at the collection rates for some of the other runners. At 137, there's a 153, 154. The good news is I'm seeing a lot of newer names, which is nice. It's a 132. 132 with a 208 time, so that's a really good CR. It's better than mine. 145, 152, 147. So not a Orbital's 110. He skipped 23 checks that I didn't do. I mean, if he doesn't go to Eastern, that's 6. Probably skips validation, that's 7. The 1 check in TR is 8. Probably doesn't check anything in Swamp, so that's like 10 or 11. I don't know. I don't know where he doesn't check. I don't know where there's another 15 checks, but whatever. Doggy Dolphy 137, so I had a better CR than he did. 159. There's a 126. Their time was 133.28, so I beat their time. They had a lower CR. What was Kate Sitz? 123. Yeah, that makes sense. And a 148 and a 146. So most of them are kind of in the 140 to 150 range. There's a few that are obviously under, but not too shabby. I'll take it. Yeah, that'll do it for me, I think. Is there anything going on tonight ladder-wise that I might want to do? Open boots at 9. That might be something I do. Maybe. See how I feel. If not, I'll probably be on tomorrow night for the Kaz Boots, MMM Kaz Boots weekly seed. But I think that will do it. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out. There's 3 more Beer League matches for Emok Bagel and myself. Emok is running the last of the solos next Saturday. Let me look at the time. That's not the right channel. He's got... So the 7th. So that's... Yeah, next Saturday, 1 Eastern. It is standard against Luke... LUK 30994. I think it's Luke 0994. But the E is a 3. So yeah, that's it. And then there's a couple more co-ops to do. There'll be 1 more all dungeons and 1 more mystery seed. Not sure who is going to run those. We haven't scheduled those yet, but we've got to get them in by like mid-Feb, I want to say. So in the next couple of weeks. So definitely want to keep an eye out for that. See if I can pull up the exact date we have to get these matches done by. That's the schedule. That's not what I want. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, Feb 15th. So we have 2 weeks to get in the last 3 matches. We've got 1 scheduled already, so that'll be good. All right, that'll do it for me. I said maybe, possibly, potentially back for open boots at 9, but if not, I'll see you most likely tomorrow. Have a good night.